Hey everyone, hey everyone. Welcome back to Did You Know? Very special week this week, very special show. Thank you for the audience members that are here. Hello YouTube. Thank you for joining us. Today we have someone who I consider a creative genius around this place. He is the CEO of Primitive Shapes, the parent company of the City of Atem. I consider him to be an innovator, forward thinker, and a pioneer of someone who is creating a space for us to do gaming, social networking, and e-commerce. Let's welcome our dear friend, Golden Hand.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah. How
Yeah,
you doing today?
I'm good. Um, I've been most of the day. Um, I've been sitting in front of the computer. And my two oldest, well, my second oldest and third oldest are going to college together. So,
Oh.
and they gotta get their license. I'm like, y'all gotta get that. So they got their like, I don't know. In Canada, you gotta go through your G1,
Mhm.
and you got to drive with somebody that has their G for a year. Then in a year's time, you can get your G2.
Mhm.
So I've been driving them to school, getting up uh 7 6:30 in the morning, driving them to school.
Then you gotta
But
go
it's
pick
been
him
good.
up. Yeah,
Well,
two
we got like
college
a little
students.
carpool because my cousin's daughter, she's going too.
Mhm.
So we do like a half and half type deal.
Mhm.
But yeah, today that's kind of my day. I just been sitting in front of the computer. I didn't get out much. I went outside a few times, and just before I came in here, that's what I got off the box, the computer.
Oh, some tell me you cooking something, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that. So look, this is your second go around coming to Did You Know?
Yeah.
Nothing has changed. I'm always curious about who you are, but I want to know who you are now. The last time that you were here, we discussed you creating a virtual enterprise here.
hmm
You discussed with us what made you come up with those steps. So tell us where you are now, and help us understand where the city of Atom fits in the vastness of this metaverse.
Well, right now, so it has been a minute because it was at
Mm-hmm.
your other spot, right? It's the
Yep.
first time me
And here.
in the
Yeah.
city of Adam.
Yeah.
Um, so round of applause for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Let's
know what I'm saying?
applaud
For
that.
meeting up in the city.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, many great shows in here.
Yep. So
Many
far.
guests. But where I'm at right now, listen, I am in my 40s. Um, and as you all know, like we go through so many stages of life, and some you can't predict. Some you kind of look at certain age groups, and it's really not about age. It's just like experiences and being around types of people, and so I'm at this stage where I am trying to. I'm not saying trying to, but like I just want to be better.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when I say better, it's in every way. Either if it's with my family, kids, my wife, um, it's with relationships, with business, with creativity.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to the drawing board and always trying to never to settle with the last thing you did. Always just trying to improve and really to be and to humble myself when I look in the mirror. I have to tell myself that there's a better you out there. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and the one that's standing there is not, he's not the better one. There's a better you out there. So, keep pushing and keep grinding. So that's kind of where I'm at. Just trying to just get better every day. and
Yeah.
don't take it for granted. Not every day you do get better. So I'm just like, I was stuck. I was in some software and I got stuck on some things. You get frustrated, because you want to make these steps, and then either if it's um, artistically, musically, whatever, you always trying to just elevate and evolve.
Mhm.
But that's the reason why I do it, though. That's the reason
Mhm.
why keeps me. That spark is just. I've always thought that way, but being here right now at this space in my life, I just want to be a better me.
Yeah. I think all of us, if we're being transparent and honest with ourselves, we want the end results quickly. We want to get there. We don't want the work in the beginning, the hardships, the struggles. That's just a natural reaction. So I feel that. I feel that. I'm definitely trying to be a better person too, you know, because
Hmm.
there is a better version of me. And
Always.
if we're working toward it, we're always working toward the end masterpiece. You feel
Hmm.
me? So yeah.
And that's really something I always told myself. Like it's you never be content and satisfied. There's always another level. There's always somebody that's gonna top what you've done. There's always gonna be somebody that was before you and after you. So you just
Mhm.
gotta, like, don't take moments for granted, and just keep pushing, keep grinding. So
Mhm. Well, I that was kind of a two-part question I threw in there on
yeah,
you.
I missed
Um,
the other half. You threw
Yeah,
something else in there.
I
Yeah.
got you, because this really what I want to know right here. How does the city of Atom play in the vastness of this metaverse? What is the city of Atom's role in the vastness of
Um.
this metaverse?
Well, just the first part is, just the e-commerce. There wasn't even if there was there's certain people that I know that was doing e-commerce, but it wasn't a big thing. There's not a lot of people that were doing e-commerce in here. So the first part will be e-commerce.
Mm-hmm.
Like ecosystem of businesses getting together and working with each other, and like a real city works, and growing that way, because everybody was worried about monetization when it came. There was a time there was no monetization. That's a new thing. That was just
Mm-hmm.
last year. So to actually just bring business in here and bring, excuse me, the e-commerce for people to run business through here, because I look at it like it is the internet. Like, it's just a
Mm-hmm.
different form of a website, and that's the first thing. Other than the creative side, the artistic side, it was that was kind of a given for me when I came in here, because that's the first thing I showcased. But it was really right away was about, I'm a grown man in here. I'm not in here to play.
Yeah.
I never was. And if, what I mean, it's good to have fun, but honestly, like, I tell you this, like, I was big on 2K, NBA 2K.
Mm-hmm.
That was my game. I'm telling you, I if I had some free time other than doing my artwork in this 2K, but in this last 10 years, I buy every new game, never play it, and I had the last one I actually played was like 2K14,
Oh.
2K14. But I would buy every game. I just bought the new one for the, you know what I mean. But I'm gonna look at it, maybe play one game, and that's it. Because it's like I'm if I was doing that to try to make a living out of it, because certain people, there's like, they got an NBA for 2K, people getting
Mm-hmm.
drafted by the NBA. So if I was really focused like that, yeah. But for fun, if I had somebody come over, but I don't have time to play, you know what I'm saying? Like, time starts to move fast when you're focused. And you look up and you're like, man, like, I don't have time to play. So um right away when I came in here, it was about, the e-commerce and building the city,
Mm-hmm. And
and
setting that tone that
right.
it was just gonna be business and
Hmm.
play at home. I feel
Hmm.
that. Play at home, but you get in here to do your job, do work, yeah, to get you to the future. I understand that. So the metaverse, has Horizon Worlds always been your home?
Yeah, well, for VR,
Yeah.
yes. I just sent remember I just sent you guys that little what was it? I have
Yeah. The
yeah,
who's in
like
your city?
who's in your city? Like that
Okay.
was a website that I was doing with a partner. This was wow, this was like 17 years ago, 16 years ago. Um, it was called Who's in Your City. So there was no like phone apps. The phone apps were, I think I had an iTouch or something like that. I think so it was Who's in Your City, and it was kind of set up like almost like the metaverse, but through an app where you can kind of, you have tabs. Yeah, this would have been so great if we would have did it. Just that me and my partner fell out. We didn't follow. We just separate ways, but you had like tabs you get to pick. So imagine having a website or an app. It would most likely turn into an app where you get to select a tab. So think about it. This can probably still work today for like a application, a social media app where
Mm-hmm.
you can kind of pick a tab, like an icon that would be like religion, business, sports, media. And there was like 12, 13 different tabs. So I know I have interest in, like, I look at your profile and I can see the tabs that you have. And that
Mm-hmm.
allows me to understand that, Joe, you're in business. This is where we match. Or if you're in arts, or and you can add all the tabs if you want, if you're in those all, but you can just have one. If it's just dating, you got a dating tab, so I kind of know how to connect with you. So that was my first initiation of thinking even about this type of concept back then. But when it comes down to putting the headset on, yeah, this is where
This is it.
this is it. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So is it fair to say that who's in your city, that app that you created, is it fair to say that birthed the concept of the city of Adam?
In a way, and I told this story before, but like the game Enter the Matrix. I remember playing that game, and it was the one of the first open world games, and it was for PC. And I remember it was a club that was like, you got like roles, you can do things, right? You can do missions, but it was an open world. Like you can talk just like this, but you just got a controller in your hand. So I was just like, there was a club, and I told my homie, I was like, yo, let's own this club. Like, let's just like, there's an entrance, and there's only two entrances. The clock was like real time. So I was like, so we start doing that. We start actually trying to have a party in the club, right? And that was like the first like wheels spinning of
Mm-hmm.
like, this can be bigger. This whole idea. So when I got into this platform, it was just easy gravy. When it's like, okay, I know what I want to do. I know what I want to
Mm-hmm.
do in this space. And building. Hey, if this ever get meta, don't take away, like, the niche for this place was building in 3D space. I did all the graphics that you can do in the real world on the PC, but doing that was a different feel of art. It took that, it was just like a love again.
Mm-hmm.
And you look for those. It was innovative. And I think that's what Meta had on every platform. I know it's early stages, but I'll say, like, if you keep pushing that concept, even though I know the headsets are going to get more defined, and but that making we can have textures in here that we can actually do in that 3D space and actually model, like you can
Mm-hmm.
do in some of these programs. And even if you import, you can still actually model the subject matter, because that's a something that I was just like, ain't nothing like it.
Well, all of that technology and talking about this is brand new to me. And most of the time, I've said this over and over. When you and Dunder are talking with those type of analytics, I have no idea what y'all talking about. But
But that's but that's the thing, right? You know what somebody told me is, you don't want to be in a room with when you're
yeah,
better than everybody,
yeah,
right? you you
yeah.
want to you want to be in a room with people that can teach you something, that somebody that's like, if you can do something that I can't, it's that's the best room to be in.
True.
So you know, being around people that have things and skills, hey, they in our city. You know, there's
Yeah.
people that do stuff in the city that I can't do. And it's just like having um having the platform to have everybody connected in that way. It's amazing. So I take that as a positive, especially now. Like when I
Yeah.
was young, it's like you just want to be this, you want to be the best here. Man, I did that, done that. It's now it's like, learning. If you're not I'm not learning from somebody, from surrounding myself around people that you're just like, it's like going and dominating a little league game. You a grown man, but you playing the softball with 5 year olds. Like you can't brag about that.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So like circle around yourself around people that can do things that you can't. and
Mhm.
and and that's and that's another thing about the city is connections. Like there's so many different connections, and I think that when we start realizing all the connections and our neighbors that we have in this space, they
Mhm.
can do something that they like. I want to get into that crypto class. It's just time for me. Like I want to get it. I want to do G class. um I want to, like, there's so many different people that are in the city and even outside the city that are doing great things. It's just you're only one person, so you got to
Yeah.
petition your time that's good for you. But yeah, that's so being me and Dunder talk, you keep your ear open.
Oh, you know I'm not going anywhere. I'm
I know
taking
you
notes.
do.
I'm learning as much as I can.
Yeah.
But look, let's take it back a little bit to your peers. I'm curious, how do you explain to your peers, people that you are running in circles with in your real life, how do you explain to them what you're doing in this space?
I tell you the honest truth, I don't.
You don't?
I don't. I don't. I don't. I don't because you know and I think this is for me, right? This is a for like my maturity. Like again, like I'm an idealist, right? I'm a person that always has a concept. Like I had so many ideas. Hey, listen, I'm gonna tell y'all something, and I told y'all this, but I'll send you the commercial. I did. This was 2006. I did. I know this a little off subject, but it's on.
Yeah.
Me and my brother-in-law, he was an artist too, and we came up with this. Well, I came up with this concept, and I got him involved. I had to like brag. I got to beg him. I was like, I was like, we can build a website where people can upload a photo, and we can either cartoon it or glamorize it. There was no such thing as filters. There was no such thing as none of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we called it profile pics. So we had a little system where you can upload your picture for only $9. You can get your picture glamorized or turned into a cartoon. The
Mm-hmm.
the the balance of the money wasn't really working. $9. We try to hook and sync with the $9, but we was doing more work. We was trying to figure out a system where it can be like like it needs to be fast because the more people, thousands of people were thinking like, how can we translate? But we didn't know. So it was like $9. Yeah, we probably going the whole doing work for free basically. But the concept, and then something happened. My brother in law, he just like he had, he just couldn't take criticism, and he kind of fell out early, and it was left with me and just my sister opened up a restaurant and blah blah blah. I started helping her. Anyway, that just went nowhere. And all of a sudden, I'm sure all you guys have seen, like about 4 years later, y'all was seeing like, oh,
Facebook.
tune you. No, not Facebook. It was you'll see it on your feeds. It'd be like, I can tune you. I can make you into a cartoon. I was looking, I was like, bro, I know that was us. And then the filter came out, right? Until now, Instagram, Snapchat, everybody got filters, but we was on that. Like, that's the thing that how I see about the metaverse. Like, we was on that, even though the metaverse thing was way back. There's a lot of people that it was in movies way back in the
Mm-hmm.
90s, even the 80s. But so going back to like talking to my peers, it's like, you know what? Sometimes an idea is not an idea to somebody, right? And you can't convince somebody your idea. You might get some people like, yeah, that's it. That's yeah, that's but you know what I mean? Like I've been into so many things, it's like my peers are like, are you gonna make $1 billion off that? Like
Okay.
I do well with what I do, right?
Yeah.
But the way I'm talking with them when I was a kid, I was like, I'm gonna be a billionaire. You know what I'm saying? That's the way I used to talk when I was a kid. Well, it was like a million, 100 million. You know what I mean? Type
Yeah. Yeah.
billion wasn't a thing back when I was a kid, but I'm gonna be like so. And they always said, "Hey, yeah, you can probably do that," but over time, they don't understand the process of winning and losing and winning and losing and winning and losing. To so my peers, it's almost like, yeah, I'm doing things. I've been like this for the last like maybe 10, 15 years with the peers around me. It's just when I'm in the project or doing something, it's just art. It's all together. So I don't
Mhm.
really explain unless I know that they'll be willing to come in here. Like if there's somebody that wants to come in here, yeah, we'll have that conversation. But other than that, yeah, I'm doing art.
That's
That's
what you're
how
saying. Keep it moving.
keep it moving.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's tap into your entrepreneurship because, like, you've mentioned several things already.
Hmm.
You've been an entrepreneur for what, 20 years or so? What's the
Yeah.
difference? Tell us what's the difference in running a VR business versus a traditional entrepreneur endeavor. Is there any extra layer of go ahead? You know where I'm going.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Like you said, I think I kind of went in that space a little bit where it's like, any traditional business. Like if you open up a restaurant and all those people that can cook good, if that's your passion, I think you should open up a restaurant if that's what you do. But you got to look at your competitors, right?
Hmm.
And your competitors is on every block, two or three of them on every block in every city. And that's the only time when people actually can really believe in themselves when they see it work. So in the metaverse, we haven't really seen it work really. Like I don't know anybody that's just. I know people that are doing well, like things are upsiding and they're getting in the right context. I understand that. I feel like I see a lot of people doing that, and some that I probably don't even know. But it's not like a mainstream thing. So the competitors is minimal. There's no competitors.
Hmm.
So and but that's what excites me. That's what excites me. So it's not the same because we don't really have the power to to convince the masses of people that don't understand the metaverse. That's Meta's job.
Hmm.
Yeah, like I said, if there's people that I'm around me that wants to come and do it, say like, hey, I'm interested. I want to come in there. Let's go. But to actually to go out there and to try to convince two or three people just to come in, just to put the headset on, just to look around. And I know it's all of our job to make this big because it's an open platform and you should bring as many people as you can, but that's not the deal breaker. Um, so it's a very different thing because it's the wild wild west and there's no blueprint. There's no
Hmm.
blueprint. There's no success. Like we can't even say Meta's successful. Like they're billions and billions of dollars. They've been successful. So this is just a project for them for the future. But inside like us, there's no competitors. We don't got no competitors. You know what I mean? There's no competitors, but that's the best part. That's the most. That's why it's a gold mine. It's a platinum mine. It's a
Hmm.
diamond mine because you have no competitors. And I'm not talking about two or three people, four people, or 8 teams doing the same thing. That's only 8 teams in the world. But you open a restaurant, you're going against millions opening restaurants. So
Hmm.
that's kind of how I look at it. It's a very different approach. It's not even close. Um, but at the end of the day, the business. That's why I'm patient with the strive of how we should move because the my interest, my biggest interest is in growth. So there's no move that I'm trying to make that's selfish.
Mhm.
Even though some people might not understand that direction, but there's great patience, especially at the beginning of something that's can change the globe of how it moves as a whole. This metaverse is going to change everything. There's no rushing here. Like we
Mhm.
gotta pace ourselves. We gotta reevaluate, look back, stick back. Okay, I understand this is that, that's that, and now I can. We don't have to. We don't. We can hustle. We can hustle. We can be prompt, but we don't. We don't have to over push and expect things when ain't nobody really getting in here. I don't know anybody.
Yeah, we keep saying the floodgates are gonna open. They're gonna
Oh,
open
when
soon.
Meta pushes that red button, when they push that red button, I'm telling you, it's all about preparation. I think people are really concerned about 32 people in the world, and it doesn't. To me, I can't get over the fact how we are so worried about that 32 number. It's crazy. Like it's not even like that 32 number is crazy, and people worry about packing their worlds up. I get it. I do get it. But that 32 number, like for a social platform, we're talking like my daughter got 200,000 people on her TikTok, and she's like, "Oh yeah, everybody got that." I'm like, "What?" You don't understand what you can do with 200,000 followers, but it's a common thing. You know what I mean? She wants like that 4 million, 5 million, 10 million. That's just the average, right? And
Yeah.
we worried about 32. Like it's beyond me that it's comical. And I'm not shaming nobody. I understand Meta knows what they're doing. That's not us, because I've been there. I was like, man, how many people got in our word? Oh, maybe we got 28. Like I've been there. Like I understand, but it's a tactic. And then I start sitting back. Oh, okay, I get it. I get it. I get it. Cause when you're in a space, you see what you see, and you take it for what it is. You always take it for what it is. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? Like 3 years ago, last year we had no legs. We
True.
few times we was like, oh man, I can't wait till we get some legs. But at the end of the day, it was like whatever. So
Yeah.
it's patience is everything in this space. And if you don't have it, you're gonna put all your stuff on the table. You're gonna expose all your underwear and panties on the table, and he's like, yo, like one at a time. You know what I'm saying? I didn't
Like
mean to get.
meta.
That wasn't a sexual term. I wasn't trying to talk
I,
about.
I, I get it. I get where you
Yeah,
were
yeah,
going. It's
yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
like old folks say, don't
yeah,
expose your underwear. Pull
yeah,
your
yeah,
slip
yeah.
up. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
don't have to, right now, but I don't. I still think people should still stay consistent and still plan, but it's like it's not an end all be all right now, because 32 people in the world, 10,000 people's in the people are getting that per per day, per minute in social platforms, and we look at low numbers. That lets you know how easy it is for us to be controlled,
Mhm.
because once we see the bar of something, that's 100%. So you're like, I need that 100%. If the world was only 5 people, we'll be stressed out. Man, there's only 4 people in here. We could get one more person. It's that bar, and 32 is that bar. It's funny that we remember 32-bit. Think about it, these numbers make sense. 32-bit, 64-bit.
That's
When we used to
probably
play
gonna be the next number.
it's probably 64. Think about it.
Mhm.
You know
It
what I'm
may
saying?
be
So
tomorrow. Metal Connect is tomorrow.
hey, if it's 64-bit, y'all don't. Then we
We
then we
said it
know where
here
it's going.
first,
Yeah,
and you learned it at Did You Know
yeah.
First.
Because wasn't it 16? Wasn't it 16?
At first,
I think so. I
Dunder,
wasn't here.
y'all.
I wasn't here then.
Me either. I
I
don't
think
think
it
I
was.
was either.
But
But
that
I
like
heard that capacity, just in conversation. I think it was somewhere between 15 and 16 originally. So, yeah, we moving on up. We getting
yeah, we
there.
moving up. It's a it's something that, like I said, just pace, and I'm not saying that I don't have these feelings where I'm like sometimes a sense of urgency of like, man, like then I'm like, I have to remind myself and be like, hey, wait a minute, man, 32 people, man. Like, and it doesn't mean those 32 people ain't important because
Yeah.
every person is, one person to your world, just seeing what you do, that's the spark. But I'm
Mhm.
just saying, as a business, like, yeah, I understand what this platform is gonna do, and Meta push that red button. I just be ready, and that's kind of my mind frame is to be ready for that button because I got one too.
Hmm. Oh, I'd like to hear about that. You gonna tell? You're probably not. Yeah, you're mysterious. Yeah, I consider Golden Hand to be one of the most mysterious people on this planet, and to
I,
work with
I hope
him,
that like the mysterious. Sometimes mysterious can sound bad. So
no, it
like
doesn't sound
I'm gonna tell
bad.
you what. Okay, let me tell you where that comes from.
Okay,
Okay, let me tell you where that comes from.
go ahead.
Um, I am a Canadian from a town, born and raised from a town of only 3,000 people,
Mm-hmm.
and this is how I was born and raised. Yes, I was maybe 15, 20 minutes outside the city and a half hour away from Detroit. Um, you know, but my everyday life, like I had a neighbor in the front of us growing up. Uh, they only had one kid. He was 4 years older than me, and my next neighbor was probably like almost you can see his house from the distance. Like I like this, like from here to like 400 block,
Mm-hmm.
like from here to like 400 block. That's like the next neighbor in each direction, and there was just fields around me. So I just had my brothers, and I'm country. We're country, like
Yeah.
we hunt. We outside. We getting dirty. We don't. You know what I'm saying? Like so, my it was like at nighttime, and when people would come from the city and come out to where I'm at, they'd be like, "Man, it's dark out here. Like there ain't no lights." They're like, "Where's the light?" I'm like, "See the moon right there? That was
Oh
my
yeah,
light."
y'all country,
I'm,
country.
I'm country. Like the moon
Yeah.
was like so. I just lived. I lived in a. It was. I was very peaceful. The way I grew up,
Yeah.
and I wish that somebody can experience the way I grew up because my mom, my dad, they're both pastors and ministers. That's all I know.
Yeah.
Pastor. My mom was a first lady. My dad was a pastor. So that's all I know. So they taught me right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um, as right as they could, of course. But three other
So
brothers, sister. So that mysteriousness is not mysteriousness. It's I'm 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 not a social person.
yeah.
I'm not a city guy. Yeah, I moved to the city. I got older, but like I can dip in, do my thing, blah blah, blah, and then I pop out. And that's how I am in real life. Like, I can have a good time. I
So
can
let
talk
me
a lot of
clarify a little
noise.
bit. Let me
Hmm.
clarify because you're right. Mysterious is attached to darkness. And I don't mean that
I know
as
that.
yeah, yeah. You went in there for a second though. But
Yeah,
that I didn't mean darkness as, attached to that. But I will say when I bring up the word mysterious, I am meaning just how you move. Like you're private, you kind of keep what you're working on the
very
wraps.
private.
You
My
don't.
daughter, my first daughter's name is Janin,
Mm-hmm.
and it's J Nin. Actually, it's on her birth certificate. It's spelled JA-NIN. It's ninja spelled backwards. So if you take the not spelled backwards, but if you take the nin and the
Mm-hmm.
ja and you just switch that, that's why the hyphens was there because you know when she was nobody knew that she was gonna be here until my wife was she got to 8 months pregnant and nobody knew.
Really?
Yeah, and then nobody knew that we was even married either.
See? I mean, wow.
So, but that's just me. Like,
Yeah.
it's just me, and sometimes it's like everything, uh, everything is a creative thing. I look at things as a creative, and it's like I want to create my own story. So it's memorable, and it's not like corny. Like I'm not a kid. Like I want to write this story about my life. I see it that way, and it's like I had nothing else to do in the country. I'm telling y'all, y'all don't even know. Y'all don't even
So,
know.
oh well, I grew up very similar. So I come from a very rural area as well. Maybe 1,500 people in my hometown. So
I'm
when I
sorry.
say
I'm looking for
country,
my vape. I'm sorry. You guys see me looking.
you're all over the place.
I'm like,
Look, let's take this a little bit further because I'm nosy and I want to know, um, how do you decide on who to collaborate with as a business? Who do you?
wow, that's a big question. There's so many different. There's so many like collab is a big thing because collab means so collab means that what I give you and what you give me is equal in return. And that's not me. That's anybody. Collaboration means it's like free trade. Like I give you these potatoes because I got an abundance of them, and you gave me those tomatoes, and you got abundance of those, and it's like an even trade. So collab, you know, what I mean, this sometimes people collab for favors, right? Some people collab because that's what they like to do. They meet people.
Mm-hmm.
For me personally, like I said, I'm in my older years. It's like, of course, there's a benefit. I mean, there needs to be a benefit on both parts. Um, and then sometimes there's like I feel like, oh, I want to help. You know what I mean? And there's that part, but like me right now, it's about the growth. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's where I'm at right now. It's about growth, and it's like it doesn't mean that, you know, like I put it like this: my nephews, I cut hair, right? I tell
Mm-hmm.
my nieces and not my yeah, my nieces too. Her kids, my nephews and their kids. I said, y'all get a haircut. Don't throw me no money. I don't want no money from you. I don't want nothing. That's where it cuts off at. But everybody else outside that, they ain't no freebies because when does it end? And if you run into business, you give somebody a deal. How can you say yes to that person and say no to them? Especially me coming from a huge family. I got so many cousins. Like I got so many cousins. Like my mom's got 13 brothers and sisters. My dad got 14 brothers and sisters, and their grandparents and their parents got like 20. Like my family, I meet family every day. So when is the cutoff? And I learned that because of family. Like when do I say, hey, and I'm sure a lot of people run into this. If you're running a business, you run into this. When do
Mm-hmm.
you say, hey, I can do this for you just because out of the kindness of my heart? And when you be like, wait a minute, like I'm trying to run a business here. Like where's that cutoff? And the cutoff, it, it's not, it doesn't exist because a favor is emotional, right? I do you a favor based on how I feel, but so collaboration to me is about growth. If there's growth, then yes. But somebody might touch me in a certain way, in a heartfelt, get to know somebody, and be like, hey, like I believe in your vision. And maybe that's not my vision, but then I can be like, yo, here you go. Like, I'll do something for you. That's the collab. So there's a business collab, and then there's a golden hand
I
collab, an
got you.
emotional collab.
Mm-hmm.
How you doing, Dre? Do what's
Good.
up, man?
Okay then.
Yeah. So that's kind of where it's at.
Okay.
Um, mhm.
What's your motto for handling criticism in a business? How do you handle criticism?
So very simple. You know what I mean? Very simple. Criticism. There's only two types of criticism. One that's constructive, and the other one that's not. There's sometimes you can be around somebody be like they just want to tell you something just because they want to tell you something. You know, hey, like you know what I mean, like that. If you put that like that pink ball beside that one right there, and you like, but that one's a little closer than that one. But like this, like man, it's like you just want to say something. You know what I'm saying? You just want like there's criticism where people and we all grew up with that. I got family. I started getting that from family members, just like after they want to say something, they just want to, especially your older cousins or your older family members, they just want to. I got a sister like that, I love her, but she's like the only sister I got, and she's like mom, but she wants to like tell me everything. Like you gotta love her for it. But that's what kind of taught me, like, man, you just talking, you just talking, sis. But then there's somebody can be like to tell you something, you're like, wait a minute, and you sometimes you might not feel a type of way, but you'll sleep on it and be like,
You were right.
yeah, like that's something I should do. So there's constructive and there's just somebody just talking. So it's very easy to tell them apart. For me, it's easy to tell it apart. So I take it if it's constructive and if it's something I know I need and I look and I actually learned something from it, then I'm taking that.
Mhm.
I'm taking that bad boy in because you know what just happened? I just got better.
Yeah,
That's what I'm trying to do.
a lesson learned.
Yeah,
A lesson learned.
yeah.
Um, where is the city of Adam headed? What's
Oh,
the
it's heading to
future?
it's heading. It's gonna be the city's gonna turn to another city. It's gonna turn to another city. It's gonna turn into a state. It's gonna turn into a country. It's gonna turn into hemispheres, other planets. Like, man, we just sky's the limit. We don't. I don't even. You know what? I'm gonna tell you something. I learned something when I was young, and it wasn't about like topping myself, of course, to be better, but there's one person, even if you're not a Michael Jackson fan, Michael Jackson was a big inspiration. And there goes some of that, like what you say, mysteriousness, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
what I mean, like he was my number one growing up when I was a kid, until I got to like my teens, like 14, 15, 16. But like as a kid, I was just like, man, that was everything. So, but you watch Michael from ABC to Off the Wall to Thriller, all the way up, Dangerous, boom, 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 boom. You seen him make a change. He changed his face even. Like he was a different person on the album, but like his style changed. Even though it still was Michael Jackson, like you knew it was that's only Michael Jackson style, but like he changed like his style. Boom, he stopped wearing the glove. He was doing his own thing, his hair, and then I when he got to a point where he was in an interview, and I think this was like maybe like in the early 2000s. He was in the interview, and somebody was like, "Hey, Michael, what is something that you want to do?" And he was like, "Yeah, I want to do something like Thriller." And right there, I knew he was done.
Done?
I knew he wasn't gonna ever get better than he
Yeah.
was,
Yeah.
because he got better like he did that for 30 almost 40 years. He was just a better version, and he gave you a different type of art. Every album topped each other, like, but soon as he said, I want to do something like his past, I knew that he was done. Doesn't mean he wasn't washed up. He's Michael, but I knew he wasn't gonna have that next thing that was gonna be like, oh, like I just felt that. And for me, it's never about going back and topping something that you've done. It's always about moving forward, because ideas are here forever. Like there's always gonna be a new idea forever. For
Mm-hmm.
for 100 million years from now, there's gonna be with a new idea. And when you think you capped off, that's when you lose your artistry. That's
Mm-hmm.
when you kind of lose that, and then you got to pass it on. But why does the brain have to pass on things? Like we learn. You don't stop learning. Like you can be 99 and have a brilliant idea. But our culture's ideas are based on our fads, styles, right? That's why you see guys making movies like what's the dude that did Avatar, the blue people Avatar. He was like almost 80 years old. You know what I mean? But he's thinking in the future. You know what I mean? Our
Mhm.
culture, we kind of think in the present and the past, and I like it. Recently, we're starting to make movies about like futuristic and present. It's not always about, we seen the James Brown story before. Like, we got documentaries. Like, I get it, but you know what I mean? And I'm not saying stop doing that, but we got to start looking to the future because once the fad runs out in our culture, you fall off. But ACDC can still sell out arenas. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I stopped looking at it as a fad. Like the fad will pass. What's cool today is not going to be cool tomorrow. And if you stuck there, that's where you're going to be. You're going to be
Mhm.
stuck in that fad. But evolution and creativity needs to happen because there's always that next forever.
That's what's up. Cool segment. Thank you for sharing all that you just did.
Yeah, yeah, for
Here
sure, for
comes
sure.
my favorite part of the show, the Did You Know segment. Speaking of,
Okay,
like you
okay,
mentioned about us going to school, going to class, let's have a brief history lesson this week for the Did You Know
okay, okay.
segment of the show. Each week I like to bring something for us to think about. And this week, let's have a little brief history lesson. Many
What
people
you know
thought
about me? What you know about me?
Many people thought a long time ago. We're gonna talk about the Underground Railroad real quick, okay? I think our education system they failed us when we learned this in school. They didn't really go into details, and I think there's some lost history in our heritage that we have no idea about. So let's just go through some of what the Underground Railroad is or what it was. It was a network of people who helped enslaved people escape to freedom, providing them shelter and aid. And that comes from history.com. And so the nosy person that I am, I was curious about when did it start. So it's around 1810 that it was first reported that it was started, and National Geographic has some information on that. So around 1810 is when it was first kind of rumored to be started. And then more people found out about it around the 1830s. Remember, this was a secret operation, so people did not know that this was going on. But by 1840, it was out the bag. Everybody knew that this was going on. So to give that some perspective, we're looking at about 30 plus years of people moving through the Underground Railroad to freedom. And so I just wanted to add that little extra nugget tonight, because
I like
have
that.
y'all ever really thought about what happened to some of those descendants that crossed into Canada? Have y'all ever thought about that? Because we have honestly been talking to one of those descendants tonight. Golden Hands family crossed across the Detroit River into Canada, into freedom. And I think that it's amazing that you guys have captured that story and is able to share that throughout your family. Many of us have no idea. And for someone to be able to identify some of their heritage, keep their history alive, I think that is great. Anything you want to share about your rich histories? It's
Man,
on
that's
you.
that's heavy right there. That is a heavy right there.
No,
Uh
that is something to be super super proud of. I mean think about it, like how has that impacted you as
man, that's heavy. So,
it's not
man.
heavy.
No, it
Take a deep
is.
breath.
No, no, it is. No, no, it's cool though. It's cool. Like
Yeah.
that's so you just said that, your school system failed
Yep.
America and they failed Canada too. They didn't teach us that in school either.
Really?
No, they didn't teach us it in school. we when I got into high school, they had when I got into like I think I was in grade 11, they just brought in one course, right? It was like a Black History course, and they taught a little bit of it, but it was kind of like uncomfortable because they just talking about slave ships, right?
Yeah.
I just like you know what I mean, like, but yes, now when you know the Underground Railroad was one of the biggest stories that every American, especially Black American, understands and heard about, and they hold dear to them their hearts, just like the Rosa Parks or the Martin Luther Kings. The Underground Railroad was a the end result of is almost like the Underground Railroad was like every Black person felt free then. Even Americans,
Mhm.
like the mindset is like, okay, that's it. Like, but that's not entirely true. You know, the you know, the Underground Railroad was it's not actually a railroad. It was actually a concept. And they
Mhm.
crossed some of them swam across the river, some of them caught boats, however they can get across. And the river's not that long. If you ever been in Detroit to Canada, it's short different distance, but a lot of people perished in that water because it's a rough river. But um there is not that many families. When I say not that many families like you from a big city, like honestly, there was not that many people that settled and from a small area. I would say there was probably maybe 60 to 70 different families
Mhm.
that settled and they all start to spread from a because where I live is the farthest south you can go in Canada. So when they say yeah, I'm a Southern Canadian, it's the farthest south you can go. So it spread out from maybe about I say about 150 miles, 150 miles where the settlement was, and my great grandparents came down here to settle. Um, they used to live in people's barns, their sisters and stuff like that, and brothers. They used to like sleep in people's barns. Um, but the all the land was like even my town. This is stuff that I'm still digging up. Even my town in this last like maybe 8 years, I found out that the town I'm from actually was named Hopetown, right? And it was
Hopetown.
Hopetown, yeah. And because I was this is how I found out. I went to go get this bottle of wine. You know how I am with my wine, and I was like, mind you, where I'm from, the biggest wine. Like you go here, you go drink wine. Like it's the biggest. We the wine where I'm at is all over the world. Um, but anyway, the bottle said Hopetown. I'm like, and then it gave me this book, and I read on it. It's like, oh, this is what the town was used to call. So I did my research. And you can just listen to the name, like who's, my people didn't need hope. You know what I'm saying? But that to get into that, there's a lot of families, like the Freemans, like that's a big family out here, and you can
Mhm.
hear that name, like why their name would be Freeman. Um, but there's a big story, a big historical story. So my mom's side, my mom settled, family settled, just but Amherstburg is right on the river. That's really far as you can go south. And 15 to 20 miles from there was my dad's family settled. So there was there's a vast amount of us, but very few when it comes to a global stance. So nobody can tell this story. There's not, there's so many fights to have this story be told. But when I started growing up, I'm like, man, I'm seeing like I was like, why isn't there no like real heavy textbooks? This stuff should be on Oprah. Like it
Mhm.
should be out there. When I started getting older, I started feeling a type of way. I'm like, nobody knows how to tell a story. Nobody
Yeah.
knows the outlet or where to go to because it's a small area. There's not a lot of people by numbers, but there's a lot when you actually put us all together. Like we about to like thousands and thousands, but we ain't reaching over maybe 50,000 people. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? Like it's not a big community, but it's heavy and it's thick and it matters. So I always told myself that I need to be one of the people to tell that story in the right
absolutely.
way.
Mm-hmm.
Um but I know listen, this is a whole nother podcast. Like, I can go like
Yeah.
this. It go heavy, like they go heavy. So
Well, thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing.
yeah.
Definitely with you being here, I wanted to open up that segment to add you in it. So, to definitely, I like history. I love
And
history.
then sorry, I didn't mean to cut. Then everybody's gonna be like, hey, golden hand is light as this table though. So
I
my
met you. You really
yeah,
are.
yeah. My my on my dad's side, my great grandmother was Irish.
Okay.
And my great grandfather, so it would be my grandmother, my father's mother's mom, was Irish, and my great grandfather, her husband, was native and black. But there's no a whole nother segment about the native. I don't believe in that native stuff. But we can get there in another time. Just
Uh,
like I don't believe in slave ships, but we can talk about that another time.
oh yeah,
Another,
we
another
definitely gonna
segment.
have you
Another
back.
segment. Another
Yep, we
another,
gotta.
another segment.
Yep, we're not gonna let
Yeah.
you just skirt by that.
No, no.
We're gonna have you back. We
Yeah.
gotta talk about that. I
Yeah.
definitely want to talk about that. Yeah, we'll talk about that another day.
No doubt.
Listen, any closing remarks? I'm so glad you agreed to come and talk tonight.
Man, you come on now, man.
Come on now.
Like listen, like anything for you. Like I'll give you a shout out because you've been consistent and just love it. You're just a good person to be around, and that's it's that simple. You know what I'm saying? Like I know you want to wrap up. I hear somebody breathing heavy out there. Uh, I like it's that simple. It's just being easy to be around, and if you can be around me long enough, we don't like all positive energy. And sometimes you can have awkward situations where you don't know what to say to people. Some people are talkative and they can just say anything. And yeah, I had to warm up to some of that. But like being around you has been a blessing because it's just easy going. And
I
Dunder too.
appreciate that.
I can say anything to Dunder, man.
Yeah,
It
a
roll off
teammate
him,
here,
man.
bro.
Like
Shout out to
so,
Donder.
yeah. So like, and that's it, man. Especially at this point in my I just want to be around good energy and don't think too hard about stuff, but think
Yeah.
hard at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy breezy. Just enjoy the day. Enjoy the day, and that's what I'm about right now. Just enjoying the people around me that care for me, and I'm gonna give them that same energy and care back, straight up. And you one of them. And
I
you one of them.
appreciate it. I
Yeah.
really do appreciate it. It's really an honor of me to work alongside of you and the team. I take it very serious. The city of Adam means a lot to me. I stand by where we're headed. Whatever it takes, let's get it done. So yeah, I'm in this.
100,
I'm in
100,
this. I'm
100.
in
You
this.
know what it is.
Yeah,
Let's
that's
go.
it. That's it.
And
So
again, go ahead before you say that. I
no.
appreciate everybody here, and everybody that's a part of the city. I hope you got something positive today. But even from yourself, like let's go. Like you guys mean the world as well. Can't do it without the community. So mad love,
Mm-hmm.
mad love.
Yep, all community members out there, thank you so much for coming. And YouTube land, thank you so much for joining us tonight. If you're interested in finding out anything about what we've discussed tonight, the contact information will be in the description and the bio. Reach out to us. If you are interested in a virtual tour, we do have businesses that are operating here in this city. You may be able to utilize some of those services. Contact us for a virtual tour. We'll show you around. If you are interested about finding out more about the city of Adam, you can also look us up under primitiveshapes.ca. So we'll see you next week. Thank y'all,
Yep,
everybody.
yep. We ran an hour. Is that how long you usually go?
Great job, you guys.
What's up, Maddie?
I had to show up. I saw that you were going to be on here.
Hold
What's
on, let me raise up.
I know.